It's time to whip off that bra, pour a glass of your favorite wine, and join us for this week's Drinks at Six podcast. Hi there, and welcome to this week's edition of the Drinks at Six podcast. I'm here with Monica. Hi, Monica.
Hi, Jacqueline.
How's it going?
I'm massaging my face.
Oh.
I had a eyebrow wax the other week, and the lady that did it said, you know, as we get older, it's important to massage your face to stimulate blood flow and get your muscles like working.
Oh,
So she
okay.
said every night and every morning when you put your moisturizer on, make it a massage. Don't just put the cream on.
Ah, I like that.
So I'm doing it now.
Oh, so you're doing it now. Okay, well, keep massaging because we got some fun topics. Today we're going to talk about what is your relationship like with your bank account, right? So keep massaging. I need a taser for that one. What would you do if you weren't afraid?
Wow.
And a time for wine. I want to start with a time for wine. I haven't told you what this one is about. But before we get into the bottle, do you have any channeling crap you need to do from the universe?
Of course.
Okay, good.
Hello?
Let's get that out of the way.
Okay, so let's do it. Have you ever heard the saying, thoughts become things, choose wise ones?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, do you know what that means?
I think it means that I feel like this is word of the week. No, but it's more like if you focus your energy, your thoughts on something, you can turn it into reality, and that's usually a warning in the negative sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I'm good.
So, thoughts become things when they are given substance in the mind with feeling. So, if you think about something but you don't really have any feeling attached to it, it's sort of just like a fleeting thought, right?
Right.
And so, but if you think about something, like we're going to talk about money today. So, for example, if you think about money and you think, I never have enough, and in that thought, you feel despair and you feel like this like panicked feeling and you start sweating and like you're really having a feeling, that's pretty much you're guaranteed that that's going to be your relationship with money if you decide to keep feeling that way. But the good news is it only takes 17 seconds to turn that ship around. So every time you have any kind of a thought where you feel this negative emotion and energy, just try to take yourself away from it for 17 seconds and think about the opposite. So instead of worrying about being $100,000 in debt, think for 17 seconds on how wonderful it would feel to have $100,000 in your bank account and really feel it. Try to get the feeling to be just as intense in joy
As
and
if it was
hope
happening.
and happiness as intense as the feeling is in like fear and despair and all that crappy stuff.
Okay.
Right? So you turn it around.
Right.
So there's two types of thoughts. There's the thoughts that weaken us and the thoughts that strengthen us. So one thought that weakens us or a feeling that weakens us is the feeling of shame. So the opposite of shame would be forgiveness. And then you have guilt and apathy as a weakening feeling. The opposite of that would be love and respect. And then you have fear and anger as like the worst. And in that time when you have fear and anger, that's a good time to practice this 17 seconds of turning it around, because what you're doing in that is you're handing it over to the universe and you're asking the universe to take care of whatever the problem is, and it's putting you back in touch with your purpose, because all of us come here to this planet to thrive, to do well, to love, to have lots of money, to have abundance and all this stuff. We are our worst enemies in stopping that good flow from happening. So if you can spend a little bit of time, 17 seconds, it's not an hour of meditating, it's just 17 seconds of whatever it is that's ailing you to turn it around into something positive. That would be the best thing you could do for yourself.
Well, that is an awesome segue into our wine discussion today. 17 seconds of wine. I want to talk about wine. I want to talk about not just are we talking about our relationship with money today, but I think we need to talk about our relationship with wine, because there's a lot of podcasts and blogs out there where we laugh about overconsumption of wine all the time, and we it's the elixir of life after 35. Wine becomes our go-to. It becomes our mother's little helper. It's the thing that calms us down. It's the thing that brings us together. But we laughingly joke about how much we indulge in it and forget the calories that come with it. What about the fact that this is a slippery slope into a bigger problem? And my husband and I drink a lot of, he drinks beer, and he'll have wine sometimes. But I just drink wine. I don't drink liquor. But I have a glass of wine most nights. As soon as he puts Maddie to bed, I pour a glass of wine it's my time by myself.
Take the edge off.
Take the edge off. And it adds up, though, because you do that every night, and then you have your weekends where you have company or you go out. You have more than that, and the next thing you know, you're constantly drinking wine, and then it's a crutch. And so my husband wanted to do a 1-month cleanse, which he did do. He actually ended up by doing a 6-week cleanse. And I was like, all the power to you, nut job, but I'm not doing that.
I'm out.
And so how will I podcast? And so for me, that was just too overwhelming. And I thought, I read an article actually, I think it was from the UK. It said a cleanse is great for a month, but the reality is that what happens is after people cleanse for that month, they tend to binge. So you kind of do the damage that you just undid, you're kind of redoing. But the alternative was to have a healthier relationship with whatever it is, whatever your poison. And, I don't know, I've never seen you drunk, but I'm not a big getting drunk person. I'm not a fan of it. I don't love being around it. But I just like that awesome buzz, and you get it in your belly, warm. And you're like, oh, I could just stay in this moment forever. Mm-hmm. It does calm me down, and you're right, it takes the edge off. And maybe there's nothing wrong with taking the edge off. It's just that, when do you stop? And so we didn't do a cleanse, but I just decided after one weekend where we had a crazy weekend we had a dinner party, then we were up north, and then there was something else. And I just felt like I had too much wine, 2 nights in a row. And I just felt pickled.
Yeah.
And yucky. And so on the Monday night, Maddie went to bed, had a lot of work to do. I didn't have a glass of wine. I didn't feel like it. The next day I woke up, I felt great. I felt clear in the morning. Mm-hmm. I went to my spin class. I came home and worked. Then that night, Maddie went to bed. I didn't have a glass of wine. I felt great. I had a good sleep. The next day I woke up. I went to spin. I felt great. And I canceled plans that night with the girls because I thought, I've only had 2 nights off. I want more nights away. So Thursday night I went out, and my first glass was really hard to get down. Maybe it was guilt, or maybe it was just, when you don't have that taste in your mouth for a couple of days, you're like, oh, I'm kind of not used to the taste, and it's good. But I noticed that not my tolerance for, your tolerance for alcohol to me usually means how you get drunk or how quick you get drunk. My tolerance for how much I could drink went down a lot, has gone down a lot. And, I went out last night with a girlfriend to see a play and had a glass of wine. It was my first time since last week having a glass of wine, and it was great. It's been a great week. And Greg and I had a real pisser the other night. I was so angry, and he was going to bed, and I couldn't throw a tantrum because Maddie was asleep, and I wanted to scream and yell, and I was furious, and I couldn't calm myself down. And I thought, okay, screw it. I'm going to have a glass of wine. And I thought, why am I going to undo all this work just because I'm angry? And
good
if
for
I
you did not self-medicate.
I didn't self-medicate, although I did take melatonin to go to sleep. But
that's okay.
But I realized that my relationship with wine is a crutch, and a crutch is a very slippery slope to alcoholism. If I'm relying on wine to calm me down after a fight, I should be journaling. I should be writing this shit down and figuring it out for myself. I shouldn't be pouring a glass of wine to numb the feeling, because the feeling will just come back. Right. And nothing's been solved, right? And so, I've become really aware of how much in society we kind of make fun of how much we drink. Mm-hmm. It's a badge of honor or something, but we're killing ourselves. I don't mean, I'm definitely not becoming a reformed non-wine drinker, because I'll always drink wine, but I want to have a different approach to drinking wine.
Well, I've gone from wine to vodka now at home.
Have you?
You know what? No, this is silly. Every year,
Wow, that's
if I go
roomy.
to the States once a year, I always buy vodka because I like it. Because I love like German schnapps, which doesn't taste like, so
Right.
it's like a vodka. Anyway,
Something a
it's
little
stupid.
different.
Like, yeah. So one of my favorite drinks is to have like a vodka tonic and then put tons of frozen berries in it. I love that.
Oh, that sounds
So
nice.
anyway, this is stupid. I just went to the
No.
States recently, so I have this bottle. So sometimes I come home at night and I have one of those and I go, this is like a real, like, take the edge off kind of and then I don't even want a glass of wine. I'm like, no,
I
I'm
wouldn't
good.
want after
I
that.
just have that one drink. I'm good.
Yeah.
But I totally agree with you. Oprah, when Oprah turned 50, she decided she would only have a drink if she was out for a special occasion because she realized how much the alcohol was taking away from like quality of sleep and also her clarity. And she
The next
knew that
day,
if she
you're
wanted to
forgetting stuff.
be a life changer, which she is, like all these wonderful things she has done, alcohol does not come into the mix.
Yeah.
And it's true. Like, I have to say, if during the week, I try really hard not to have a drink during the week because my week is completely different.
Well, your
wake
hours
up,
are different.
I'm ready to go. Like
Mm-hmm.
But even one glass of wine with dinner can make me hit the snooze button and go, you know what? I can wait. That can wait.
Yeah.
And then I go into panic mode, right? When I come into reality. Yeah. I'm not how some people wake up and they think of all the things they have to do and they go, oh my God, I better get up. I got to go. I think of all the things I have to do and I hit snooze.
Yeah. That would not allow me to go back to sleep. I would be stressed. By the way, I just want you to know that we have a new follower on Instagram, Death Threat Radio.
Okay, I like it. Let's follow them back.
This machine kills fascists. Okay, so anyway,
wow.
they're
really hitting all targets.
They're on SoundCloud, so they're our followers, and I'm kind of scared. But yeah, like it does definitely affect your productivity, but I guess I'm just afraid that it will become my go-to for everything. I had a rough day with Maddie. Wine. This is how I treat myself. Wine. I'm not gonna, Greg and I decided, well, wine will now only be, like, drinks will only be for, like, special occasions. Someone's coming over, so then I call my neighbor. I'm like, hey, want to come over? Can you come fix my light switch so I can have a glass of wine? No, I'm not gonna do that. I'm probably... Right now, the last couple of weeks, the way it's been working is just no wine unless I'm going out or we're having people over or it's our night together. Mm-hmm. But I mean, no, like I'll probably have a night here and there where I do go back to having a glass of wine, but I don't want to do it every night like I was doing it. I want to have I want to have breaks during the week where I'm just not touching it.
Yeah, that's right.
Anyway, it's funny. I just when I became aware of that, and it was easier than I thought it would be, I just realized how much the media and the social media world, we post jokes about wine all the time, but we're glorifying drinking.
Mm-hmm. We are.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, totally.
It's kind of it's like a badge of achievement, for reaching this age. Now you can have wine all the time. Well, no, you can't. This is when your metabolism slows down.
That's right.
This is when those calories add on.
Yeah. And what do you think about one thing I always struggle with, because both my parents came from Germany. Like, my dad made wine, and wine was part of growing. I mean, I had my first glass of wine when I was 10 years old, mixed with some apple juice. Like, it's part of the culture, right?
Well, in Italy, kids drink it from a young age.
Yeah, exactly. And alcohol was never a big deal. So, if you go to Europe and you go out for lunch, well, I know here you do it too, but you'll have like a couple beers, go back to the office, then you'll go home at night. You'll go for a run, you go for a bike ride, go for a hike. Like, these people are like unstoppable. Then they have a bottle of wine with dinner, they go to bed, they get up, they do it
all over again.
Yeah, and they're like powerful and they're doing things, and that's my perception of it anyway. And then I think of myself and I think, okay, if I went out for lunch and had a beer, I'd want to have a nap at 2.
Yeah.
And
I can do it. I can do wine at lunch. I like a glass of wine at lunch. but if I have 2 glasses of wine at lunch, then I'm feeling
down
like
for the.
then I'm not as productive, and I really would love a nap. And yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
Interesting.
Anyway,
we have to be careful of that for sure. And
Yeah.
and I know in the summer when we like hit the cottage and then it's wine.
I
and
consider
that
the
Monday,
summer off
I
limits.
hate Mondays in the summer.
But no, summer doesn't count. It's untouchable. It's summer. That's a wine must. Yeah.
Okay.
No. Let's
so shut her down for February.
Not
and
go.
Let's rock it out.
Let's
in
not go
May.
batshit crazy here and say no
Okay.
more wine. And speaking of wine, the reason I drink it, Maddie, my mom moment. So
Tell
Maddie,
me about your mom moment.
all right, so Maddie is like heavily into Star Wars right now, even though like she's never seen the movie. But she has told us that she's going to have a baby Luke Skywalker, and it's become ridiculous. Like it's an obsession, and it's like not just here and there cute. She's obsessed with having baby Luke Skywalker. So last week we were in the car on our way out to our favorite pizza place, Queen Margarita, for like family pizza night. And she said, "Mommy, I don't think I can have baby Luke Skywalker." I'm like, "Oh, hallelujah."
Thank God,
Move on to another topic. And she said, "'Cause I'm too young and I don't want to grow up yet." And I said, "Good. I don't want you to grow up either." And she said, "So I want you to have the baby Luke Skywalker."
Oh God!
I'm like, "Oh fuck."
So that's why you're not drinking.
That's
We're
why-
having a baby Luke
We're having
Skywalker.
a baby Luke Skywalker. So, like, all the way to the restaurant. "Are you having the baby now? Are you having the baby now?" And then we get into the restaurant, and we're at the table, and this lovely girl, Madison, takes our order, and Maddie's like, "Mommy's gonna have baby Luke Skywalker now." I'm like, "Okay, stop with the mummy giving birth thing." People are looking at me. I've been going to spinning, kid. If people look at me and think I'm about to give birth any minute, then spinning does not work. But secondly, stop telling people mummy's having a baby. And then she was just obsessed. "When are you going to have this baby? Let's get moving, mummy. We want baby Luke Skywalker." So,
Oh my God!
so what did I do?
I love baby Luke Skywalker.
Have
when
you
are
ever
you
seen
gonna have
a baby Luke Skywalker? No, no one
No,
has.
but I think I'm now obsessed.
So anyway, that made me have a glass of wine. So, that was my mummy moment. It just never stops.
I love it.
Another
talk about
topic.
money?
Let's get money out of the way because
Yeah.
I hate talking about money. It just makes me feel diuretic. Anyway,
Yes.
you carry on.
Okay, I'm gonna give you a hopeful quote on the money thing
Okay.
from Maya Angelou.
Okay.
So take all of the I shoulda, coulda, woulda out of your thinking with money, and listen to this.
Okay.
You can only become truly accomplished at something you love. Don't make money your goal. Instead, pursue the things you love doing and then do them so well that people can't take their eyes off you.
Ooh, I like that. I like that.
that too. Yeah.
Cool. So,
Isn't that good?
yeah.
So you focus on your life's purpose and you give to the world what you're here to do. And the money will do what you love. The money will follow. It's a very famous book.
It is famous, and I understand why it's famous, because if you focus on doing something really well, then you become an expert,
Exactly.
right? And people pay for experts, so... But,
Mhm.
so, okay, so I love what I'm doing, but I'm not rich. I'm not even making my mortgage right now. So, what, like...
Mm-hmm.
That is a long road. Sometimes it can be a long road to achieve that.
Yeah.
So what are
So
some...
and a lot of this stuff too is like it's learned. So there's this website I found called Success Consciousness: Mental Tools for a Great Life, and they have a blog here, Attitude Toward Money and How to Change It. So what they talk about is like how you're raised as well, right? Like
right.
if you so your attitude plays an important role in attracting money into your life or driving it away. If you grew up in an environment that undermines self-esteem and lack motivation or ambition, it would be harder for you to attract money. So, if you grew up in a family where your parents told you were stupid and you're like, there's many people that grew up in that.
Yeah.
It's going to be
especially in that
harder.
generation. Yeah.
Yeah, you're either going to like fight against it or you're going to be like, no, money's hard to come by. This isn't easy. Money is evil. All this kind of stuff,
It shouldn't be easy.
Yeah. or you feel like you don't deserve to be wealthy, you think money is filthy, you don't feel you deserve to have enough money, even if like consciously you wish you had more. Whatever is deeply rooted within you is kind of like where you always come up with these challenges, right? So on the other hand, if you had a positive upbringing and your attitude towards money is positive, and you're open and willing to have it in your life, you will attract more money to you. So they quote an expert from a book called Visualize and Achieve, addressing the subject of the attitude toward money. It is rather funny to hear people say how much they want money and wish they had more, yet in the deep recesses of their subconscious mind where it counts most, they repel any opportunity to improve their situation. It is difficult to attract money if there is a negative attitude about it. You cannot attract something that deep in your heart you despise. In a most common attitude for many people, they desire money, but their attitude is negative and therefore repellent.
Okay.
So you really, like, this is all about using your mind's power to change that. Like, you got to change the root,
right,
of whatever is making you repel the money.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So one of those ways to do that is by repeating affirmations, to change your attitude towards money. Like, they give an example of a few affirmations you could try. I deserve to possess money. I have the right to have money. Money is a useful tool. Money can improve my life. I am very comfortable with having money in my account. Money is following into my life in harmonious ways. So this is kind of cool because one of my universe message actually is about beliefs, and a belief is just a thought that you keep thinking. So if you keep thinking money is hard to get, money, there's never enough, am I going to get enough jobs, how am I going to make this year work, where's the money going to come from, how am I going to, so you're thinking, in those thoughts, you're already thinking that you're never going to have enough money because you're trying to figure out the hows.
Yeah.
So you have to let go of the hows, and you just have to keep repeating these affirmations. So, the cool thing with affirmations is you read them once and you go, okay, I don't believe any of that stuff. But it doesn't matter if you believe it now or not. If you can wake up every morning for the next 30 days and say these things I've just read, I deserve to possess money, I have the right to have money, money is a useful tool, money can improve my life, eventually that's going to come into your thoughts. And then it's going to turn into a belief, because a belief is just a thought that you keep thinking.
Right.
So you need to retrain yourself. I think that is the place to start to change your belief about money. Marie Forleo, who I love to follow, she had a really good interview with a financial guru that really helped her turn her life around. And he gave this great example of how he would ask people, just track your spending for 30 days. I bet you'll find money. And nobody could do it. He said, track your spending for 7 days. Maybe 30, I don't know what it was, like 25% of the people were able to do it. And then he said, okay, forget all that. Just track your spending for 1 day. And where are you losing money? And like 9 times out of 10, it was like on Starbucks or whatever, that kind of crap.
The Starbucks factor is a huge thing.
It's huge, and I will send you that link, Jacqueline, to post, because it's amazing. He really tries to break things down into something very, very small and attainable. Like, okay, you know what? You think you don't have money, but you do. It's just a choice on where you're putting it.
I would be the biggest defender of that, because I will go grocery shopping and come home and it turns out we already have broccoli. Or we already have this, or we already have that, bacon, you name it. And Greg gets so pissed off because he's like,
you can't have enough bacon. So
you can't. And I do rise against him when he tries to fight me on bacon.
Sale, Pack up
You know
the
what I do?
freezer.
I just say, you're upsetting me. I pour myself a glass of wine. I make my bacon. I go hide in a closet and eat it. Screw 'em. But if you look at our fridge, we have, oh my God, open our freezer. We have way too much stuff. Because I'm not a good shopper, because I'm not a good organizer. So in my fridge, I don't even know half the time
And that's
what's
just
in
a
there.
belief. That's just a thought you keep
I'm
thinking.
good with that. I'm good with that. I don't want that to be my job, so I don't want to be good at it. You know, my sister-in-law once said, if you don't want to do something, do it poorly, so no one ever asks you to do it again. I think this is wise advice.
I do too. That sounds good to me.
But no, but it's true. I waste my money on buying things we don't need, and then, you know, veggies, they go off so quick. Oh God, every time I go to Loblaws, I buy something at Joe Fresh that I end up by giving away to like some donation or whatever. Like, yeah, I don't think about what I buy. I'm an impulse buyer.
Yes.
And I need money, so it all goes down the toilet. You know, it, like all that money could be saved.
It could.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Anyways, it's so funny.
So
I
what-
just had a glass of wine while I, you know, talked about cleansing. Not even cleansing, a healthier relationship.
I remember the bottle up against your lips, but anyways, so yeah, like,
Well, let's.
what is your relationship with money?
It's horrible. I'm afraid of not having it, and I was raised in a very strict household about money. That you have to be on top of it. You always have to know where it is. You have to know, you have to budget. And I think,
See, you're gonna love this video blog because he says the worst thing you can do is budget,
why?
because all it does is makes you focus on lack of money. You just have to set things up so that they're happening. So you set up your retirement fund, you set up your education fund for Maddie, you set up all these things to come out of your account, and then the rest of it, you set up what's important, life insurance, all that stuff. Then the rest of it, you use it. He even talks about creating a dream fund.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
So more like a retirement.
No, the dream fund is for you to explore your dreams now, not wait till you retire.
Oh, okay. Well, I definitely want to post this link.
Yeah.
How did you grow up? Like, what did Wolfgang teach you about this money thing?
Be very, very afraid.
No. So you're like me.
Yeah, no, I had the same kind of upbringing and to be very careful. But one thing my dad did teach me, which was fantastic, is that it doesn't take a lot of money to go far with your money.
Yeah.
And he was very good at making wise investments and all of that stuff. But really, like he said, what's $25 a week to put it away?
It's nothing.
Nothing. And then he would always show me, like, look at what this will be amortized over this many years by the time you retire. So he was very good at teaching me how to save for, old age and all that stuff. But then, now, and I am learning, it's been a huge learning curve, leaving like this corporate security job. And now for the last 8 years, I've been full-time in my business. I do need to change my attitude about money, because when money comes in, I feel like, oh, good, now I can like pay this off and do this. And I don't take a little tiny bit aside for me anymore.
Yeah.
I need to do that. And
I
for
pay all
some
my
reason,
bills.
yeah,
And
I
it's
pay all
gone.
my bills. But
then
when
I
I
rack
work
up
for
my Visa.
someone else, yeah, for sure. When I worked for someone else, I felt almost like more justified in putting away for me. But now that I'm the solely responsible for what's coming in, I feel like, oh no, I better pay that off. I can't put that away for me, because that needs to be paid off.
No, I get that. I totally understand that, because I do that. Yeah, I don't put it aside anymore, and that's what makes me spend more, because then I can justify to myself, oh, of course I can buy that dress from Joelle's because I haven't spent any money on myself for a month. Then I go overboard and I spend like $500.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like dieting. You either binge or purge. Like, you can't do that. You have to have more of a balanced approach to it, I think. Anyway, I'm the last person that should talk about money, because I'm horrible at it. Like, I'm the kind of person who goes to the bank machine and throws out my statement right away, because I don't want to see what my balance is. It will just depress me for the day.
Yeah.
or stress me out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's horrible what that does, because I do the same thing. Like, I have a really anal spreadsheet I use for my business. And when I know there's enough money to cover everything, I don't want to look at it. I'm like, no, I'm good. But then when I know things are depleting and, we're working on orders, but the payment hasn't come in, I'm like, oh God, now I have to look at it. Oh my God, now I have to look at it. Is there enough? Is there enough? And I get myself so stressed out that I paralyze myself.
Yes, I know.
Instead of just facing the freaking thing. Every Monday, that's the first thing I should do. Okay, this is what we got coming in. This is what we got going out. What are we dealing with this week? Can I do this and this? Yes, no, maybe. Okay, on with the week. Back to selling. Let's have some fun, right?
Yeah.
But instead I go, I don't want to look at that right now.
I know. It's because it's a fear thing, because it's still a negative thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I did this year for the first time set up all of my bills on automatic withdrawal.
Oh, I can't do that because I'm freelance, so I never know when.
Yeah.
Like I have money.
But, okay, sorry to interrupt you, but one thing my dad said when I bought my first house, he said to me, don't worry about the mortgage payment. The money is going to be there. And
what do you mean?
He said it's just going to be there. You're going to have the money. Don't worry about it. It's going to come in. And my mom told me that when they bought their first house, my dad stressed about not having the money to pay the mortgage and blah blah blah. What if this? And he said the money was always there. So he believed it. He saw the evidence of it. He believed it, and then he said it to me. Right?
Yeah.
So now, when I did this with my bills, I thought about my dad. I thought, you know what? If I set this up, the money will be there. Mm-hmm. Like, when I write things down of what I need to pay for, the money shows up to pay for it. If I avoid it, I have no money.
Ah, interesting.
Because, again, you're putting something out there. I need this. Come to me.
Yeah.
It comes.
Yeah.
If you don't know what, you have to be so specific. If you don't identify with what you need and you avoid it, it's not going to show up for you because you're not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I want to hear from listeners, like, what is your relationship with money? Are you someone like me most of the time, Monica some of the time, where you are afraid of your balance? Or are you somebody who loves to rip open that bank statement and hit it face on? I mean, we're going to post the links that you talked about. I think that'll be really interesting. And I love the fact that you just said I don't have to have a budget. You just made my whole day, sister.
No, you don't need the budget.
Yeah, so we'll definitely post that because I want to know more about that.
Yeah.
I want to know more about how I can dodge administrative tasks in regards to financials.
No problem.
All right, what's up, sister?
Oh, yeah. Okay, I'll tell you this one is an adjective off the hop.
Off the hop. You know it's an adjective because I keep bugging you?
Yeah. This word is macrosmatic.
Macrosmatic.
Automatic. It sounds like an 80s song. Guaranteed. Fantastic. Yeah.
Oh, man. Macrosmatic. Okay. It's an adjective?
Yeah.
Okay. I have a fun definition, but it won't work as an adjective. Macrosmatic. Okay, can you
Are you Googling that?
No, I am not.
What are you doing
I'm
over
not.
there on your phone?
I'm not. I'm Googling a word I was going to use in my definition.
Okay.
But I don't...
Don't use it as an adjective. Use it as whatever you want.
Okay. Okay, so what's the word again?
Macrosmatic.
When scientists study the effects of wear and tear on windshields, they find that the macrosmatic sprayings of small bugs actually damage the glass. I was thinking
amazing.
Like tiny little bugs smacked macro.
Yeah, macrosmatic.
Except
I
macro
like
is
that.
Big, not micro.
That is what this word should mean, but
That
unfortunately
is
it doesn't.
Would be.
So Jack, I'll use this word in a sentence
Properly.
now.
Okay.
So your cleanse that you did, your little break from wine for a couple of days, probably made you... Okay, now I'm not even going to use it as an adjective because I don't know how.
awesome. I love it when you
Probably.
task me with these words and you don't even
and I don't
know.
even know how to use it. Yeah, because you did this cleanse when you had your first sip of wine, I am absolutely certain that your macrosomatic senses were heightened, and you could
What?
decipher the best bottle of wine to drink even better than you could before.
So my taste bud? No, my heightened something?
Sense of
smell?
yes.
Macrosomatic
is having a good sense of smell.
Well, that's a silly word.
And they say it's an adjective. Like, how do you use that as a...
Well, it's a descriptor. It's describing a sense. No. It's kind of like if you said it was a heightened... If it was the way that the sense... Yeah. Okay, let's not get into a whole big violent battle about adjective versus... Yeah. Okay. So our final topic is the one I'm excited about. What would you do if you were afraid? Now, you sent me a really cool video on Lean In, and I'm going to post that. And it was great to hear those women talk. But I would love to toss this over to you to lead because you are the one who came up with the topipic. But I will dive in and interrupt endlessly soon. Yeah. Well, no. Why did you bring this up as a topic? Explain the video a little, maybe.
Okay, so in this video... they interview all these women and they say what like the topic is what would you do if you weren't afraid, but they actually interview women that have accomplished great things. Like they talk to a ballerina and she says, well,
and a writer who won 2 Emmys,
a writer, like this writer won 2 Emmys.
They're
and
accomplished,
said, but I can't say I'm a writer. And a ballerina that is like very successful, and she says, yeah, but I don't have the right shaped hands and not long enough legs or whatever. Like, even though they're accomplished, they're still saying, well, why am I here? Because I'm not that person.
Doesn't it sound
to you?
That's
fear-based.
It's very fear-based, but doesn't it also sound very much like the podcast we did on imposter syndrome?
Yes.
And Tina Fey,
Have you seen Sisters yet, by the way?
No, not yet. Oh, is it good?
No, I haven't seen it.
Okay. But Tina Fey and wasn't Ariane Huffington? I can't remember who else it was. Anyway, I'll post the link to that podcast. Who all admit that they felt like at any time someone was going to find out, like Tina Fey, that she wasn't funny, she wasn't a comedian, and they were all afraid that they would be found out for not being as good as they touted themselves for being at whatever they were doing. Which it's not the same as this, but it's funny that that's fear-based as well, and it's a lack of confidence. And this video is really interesting. You're watching these fabulous women who are hugely accomplished saying, I don't feel like I can call myself a writer because I haven't earned that yet. I can't prove that somehow.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because I'm always afraid to... I feel uncomfortable saying I'm a writer. Even if I am writing cat shit blogs or whatever I'm writing for clients, I still feel like, well, that's not where I started in my career. So, maybe I'm not accomplished enough to say that about myself. We're always afraid to give ourselves the title that we want to be.
Yeah, what's up with that? Okay, but there's the other side of it too, where, I think sometimes being humble is what makes you a great person.
Yeah, I think humility is good.
Yeah.
But this is kind of the next step. This is taking it a step too far.
What makes you say that, you're uncomfortable about saying you're a writer? I get that maybe wasn't your intention at the beginning, but now you are a writer. You're a damn good one. So, what is it that's stopping you from...
Because all I have to do is pick up a copy of The New Yorker, and then I'm like, no, I am not a good writer.
Okay, so you're comparing yourself to other people.
But
I might pick up a copy of The New Yorker and say, what the hell are they talking about? I'm going to go back to... I like what Jacqueline's saying.
Well, that's true. It's all subjective, but in my mind, it's a benchmark. That's what a writer is, right? Like someone who can write like that, that's a writer. But that's a personal thing. That's the bar I've set for myself. And I don't want to write about that stuff. But they're just the level of sophistication is far out of my ballywag. So what about you?
Wow.
You don't seem afraid to.
No, it's funny. I think I would, somebody says to me, "What do you do?" "I'm a jewelry designer." "Oh yeah?" And then they'll say, "So who's your competition?" And I go, "Nobody, because nobody's doing what I'm doing." Like, I'm so like,
Yeah.
I've created this. This is my own thing. Did you go to school for jewelry design? Nope. And I'm proud of that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm almost the opposite. Like, the more I can do without any kind of like education to back me up, the prouder I am.
Yeah.
Because it came from me. But on the other hand, I have other fears where I'm like, oh my God, nobody's going to like it. Nobody's going to buy it. Nobody's going to stay with me. Everybody's going to leave me. What is going to happen?
Yeah.
You know, like it's like a fear of abandonment, or that I'll be like somehow lost in the shuffle.
Yeah.
But if you ask me what I do, I'm proud.
Yeah.
I think I'm the best. Like, how can I feel like I'm the best person at what I do?
Because you're doing what you love.
Yeah, but then why am I afraid of like not being successful at the same time?
Are you afraid of that?
Yeah, big time.
But what would that mean if you? What's success to you though?
Success to me is to be like to last forever.
Okay, but
better to fade out than burn out. No, I'm kidding.
No,
Burn
but I
out
mean,
than
like,
fade out.
what does that look like? Like, what does lasting forever look like? Being Chanel? Like, what?
Yeah, it's like Chanel or Tiffany or something that just like. And I think that's
but
why
stuff
I
that
also
lasts forever is classic.
Yeah, and that's
your stuff isn't classic, and that's what makes it unique.
Mm-hmm. But I think it. So this is the other side. I feel like it is classic because it's unique. It becomes classic. So, for instance, this like right now, tassels are really trending, and I did create a tassel design because it's trending. But typically, I wouldn't do that. I don't care what's trending.
No, I just mean like your stuff is creative, whereas I don't look at like Tiffany's. I look at as very expected.
Okay, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Right. I see.
Which is why it's classic, because those little bead earrings will be in fashion for 200 millennial. Like,
yeah.
Whereas tassels will be really hot right now, and they'll retrend in 20 years.
Yeah.
So in that way, it's classic, but it will not be a consistent piece. It's not a staple.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think
maybe I want to be like a artistic classic. Like I want it,
yeah.
Like when people wear my jewelry, I want them to feel like they're wearing a piece of art that expresses themselves on their body.
You want them to say like when people are talking about art and color and contrast, it's you like, oh, she's like the Andy Warhol of jewelry. You want that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Totally.
All right.
Yeah, so if you wear a necklace that I made 10 years ago, I want people to go, oh my God, I've never seen anything like that. Where did you get that?
Or they'll say, is that a Glam Jewels circa 2007?
Yeah.
You'll be like, you nailed it. Yeah. But, I mean, yeah, okay, so it's still fear-based a little bit, but in the moment you're proud to name what you are.
Yes.
It's funny because, you know what I think that might be too is, like, the examples in this video, and I highly recommend the listeners to watch it. I don't know anything about their background, but for me, a writer, I'm uncomfortable because I'm still in my professional world not doing the kind of writing I want to do. So maybe I just don't feel like I fit in that place yet. So maybe that's why I'm uneasy.
So what kind of writing do you want to do?
I want to do the kind of writing I do on my site. I actually don't want to write anymore for clients. I want to write for my site. I want to...
Okay, that's
I would
good.
love to do that. We obviously know that we can't. I do like writing for other brands. Like, I love working for my clients, but it's not the kind of writing that is... My strongest writing is when I just let loose. But I think...
How can you do that on a bigger scale?
Well, I would turn my site into a brand, and, you know, that would be the thing. But I just wonder what where the fear comes from. In the video, it talks about how society has a huge impact on that opinion that these women and we have on ourselves, the perspective that women and men at young ages, if boys are bossy or forceful, they're leaders, and if girls are doing that, then they're bossy, they're not leaders. And so we come out of school and they head down the path for leadership, and we we go down the path of, you know, being pleasant and amicable, and we are, you know, non-confrontational, we are people pleasing, you know. Those are not leaders. We have it beaten out of us because it's not acceptable behavior. It's not ladylike.
Yeah, that's right.
And I wonder if the women in the video struggle with that in the back of their mind. They don't even know it. Yeah, I mean, like role models in our own world. My mom wasn't a leader in her professional life. My dad was, but I mean, our moms back then worked to help support the family, and they led this full-time career as parents on top of their full-time jobs.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny that, you know, there's so many great examples of female leaders, and yet we're still afraid to be leaders, some of us.
Yes, for sure.
I am definitely going to share that video, but the question, the way that this podcast is positioned, is what would you do if you weren't afraid? What would you do? Now, my question on this is, what does that mean? Like, does that mean you have disposable income that just magically appears?
Yeah, see, that's the whole, as soon as you ask that question, I think, okay, does that mean somebody just handed me $1 million?
Yeah, I mean, there's tons I would do if I had the money, because if I wasn't, but then again, it negates the question.
No, you know what?
You're afraid that you won't have the money.
I can answer that question.
Okay.
So if I wasn't afraid, I would liquidate. I would sell my house. I would sell my studio. I would try to minimize everything. All of my big expenses that I have right now, I'd try to condense that. I would live in a tiny place. I would have all my employees work from home. And I would take my product and I would get out of Burlington, and I would do as many trade shows as I possibly could. And I would brand myself, and I would try to get out there and talk to as many people as I could and meet as many people as I could. And my mission would be to build my tribe.
Right.
Because I have the most amazing customers right now. And if I could meet times 10 the amount of those types of women, because they're out there, and I'm not going to meet them unless I'm out there.
Well, that's the thing. You have to get in front of them. You would invest I would invest my time and my energy to doing that, to getting out there. And I'm afraid to do that because a house is a good investment. My studio is a good investment. I'd rather sit on my investments and pay them off. Yeah.
Than get out there with, you know.
Yeah. That's interesting, because you do need, your business does need that. And it would be worthwhile for you to do that. But then again, it's not just, this is the thing. It's not just you.
No.
We got Wayne's life to think about.
Yeah, exactly. And I have, my family and friends, and I can't take off for 2 years and say, I'm going to go do this, see you later.
Yeah. I think...
Or can I?
No, then you would be really taking the independence in your marriage to a whole new level. Yeah. and then you might have some haters. Yeah. No, but I mean, it's hard to separate what you would do if you didn't have fear from what you would do if you had money and time.
That is very, very true, because the other part of not being afraid is having faith. So I could turn that around and say, no, I would hang on to everything I have. I would continue to do what I'm doing. I would stop thinking about what if this doesn't work. Yeah. And I would just take chances on the things that I can control and see them through, instead of wondering if I'm going to fail at everything.
Well, that's the thing. Okay, so this conversation is interesting, but you've already left a big corporate, safe, secure lifestyle to launch your business. So to say to you, what would you do if you weren't afraid, doesn't seem applicable to me, because you've already done it.
Oh, thank you.
But you have.
But I'm still afraid.
Well, that's fine. I think a certain level of fear is healthy. Like, I left my full-time career in advertising and lost half my salary to pursue my passion as a freelancer and to pick and choose the clients I wanted. I think that we've both made a big leap. And that was fear-based. No, now that is me giving you the finger. But do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So and I think that a friend of mine a long time ago told me I should read this book, and this was before I left my job. But the book is called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway.
Yes, I love that book.
Yeah, and I loved it because when I was getting ready to launch the site, someone sent me a card, and the quote on the front was, well, there's two I loved. Aim high. It was something about the low-hanging fruit. Now I forget the quote. So anyway, the second one was leap and the net will appear. And I love that quote because it's been true in everything that's happened. I mean...
That's why you got to get the automatic withdrawals out of your account.
I know. Well, the only one is for Maddie's savings. And it's simply because I forget. Because money comes in and goes out so infrequently because of when I get paid that I always have to remember to pay into her account because I'm doing her $25 a week now, starting at the age of 4, so that hopefully she's loaded and she can totally let me live with her.
Yeah, good one. Mama's moving in.
Yeah, Mama's 90 and moving in. Yeah, unfortunately, Maddie, we have longevity in our family. Like both my grandmas were one was 102 and the other one was 97. So. The banks love us. Anyway, I'm going to post that link. I want to post it because I think it's really interesting. And I think it's something to think about. Like, what would you do if you could take away the fear? Never mind the money and the time. That's a different question. But it's almost, I guess the question is what's holding you back?
Yeah.
A little bit, right? Like, and if it's fear-based, why? What are you afraid of? I think that we need to put that question to ourselves so that we can, get past that barrier. In terms of, you and I talk about our girls, geeks, and gadgets.
Yeah, what do you got?
What do I got? I got one that the moms are going to love.
Oh.
Yeah, this is, this device is it's called the first plug-and-play privacy solution device.
Okay.
And basically, it's going to keep your kids safe online. And that's a big thing, like for me, and I think for a lot of moms, but even for you and I, who love to be online, but we're not as tech savvy as we think. You know, there's ways that companies and hackers are capturing our data. So this thing is eBlocker, and this device, it anonymizes. I don't know how to say that. Anonymizes your online behavior, right? So people don't see your profile, they just see a profile. And it stops all the trackers, blocks all ads, and so while your kids are online too, so they're not getting those nasty little ads. And anyway, so these, because like trackers and ad networks follow your browsing habits, and that's how they collect your data, right? So that's how you get ads served to you, because they know that, like when I was looking to replace my engagement ring because we'd lost the diamond, I went on to Brilliant Earth. Oh my God, those ads, that was 3 years ago. I'm still being served Brilliant Earth ads. I mean, that's a non-offensive brand. But, you go to the wrong site by accident, you click through something, you're going to have those ads following you. Anyway, and they're data collecting on you, which sucks, right? So anyway, when we're in in the online world, we're worried about predators, we're worried about brands, we're worried about our security. So this eBlocker can really help with that. It protects all of your internet devices in the home. So it anonymizes your visible IP so that people can't get that information from you. And you can cloak your devices to fool dynamic pricing engines. So this thing's going to protect you and your kids online.
Wow.
So I don't want to say I understand the real technical back end of this, because I really don't. But any online content that you don't want served to your kids, or you don't want them, stumbling upon, this will help. The e-blocker will help protect that. It's worth checking it out. It's a bit expensive. It's about 140 US. Mm-hmm. And I can't say for sure it's
3,000 Canadian.
3,000 Canadian, or a trip to Bermuda, or an e-blocker. But I will post the link to it. I think it is kind of cool because right now, especially like me, I am all about, protecting my kid from online predators, brands who want to make her drive me crazy because she wants to buy stuff. So anyway, I'm going to, I'll post that link. You can check it out.
Cool.
That was a great chat today. I want to hear from our listeners to hear any topics that you guys are thinking about. When you guys go out for drinks with your girlfriends, what do you talk about?
Yeah.
Why don't you let us know?
We need a tracker for that.
Yeah, we
be a fly on the wall.
Not to hone in on your conversations, but why don't you join us and tell us what's going on, and we'd like to talk about it too.
Wait, I just got the best business idea for our
What?
podcast. We need to make a little thing called the fly on the wall that looks like a fly, and then we send them to our listeners, and they put it on the wall when they're with their girlfriends, and we can get snippets of conversation.
You don't mind that, do you, listeners?
No.
Wow, I'm sure there is absolutely no privacy issue around that whatsoever. So stay tuned for our next podcast. We haven't decided what we're going to talk about next week, have we?
No.
I think stuff's going to come up, yeah.
But I know the universe will be talking.
Oh, the universe, for sure. It's also March. Can you believe that? Next week it's March. So, 1 or 2 more weeks left of winter, according to those crazy little hedgehogs or groundhogs, whatever the hell they are. All right. Okay. Cheers.
Thanks for listening to Drink Chat 6.